Welcome to the Mucked Up My Self-Care podcast.
I'm Jill from New York.
And I'm Linda from Tasmania.
We are two moms from opposite sides of the world who are living, demonstrating, and helping moms across the world build their self-care asset bank.
Ready to dive in? Messy, interrupted, imperfect, and most of all mucked up. Let's get going.
Hello.
Good morning. Good evening. I love that little jingle of a tune sometimes when I really need it.
Yeah.
So, for those who are just joining the Mucked Up My Self-Care podcast, we start with highs and lows because we do believe parenting has many aspects to it, not just the good parts, but the bad parts, and not just the bad parts, but the good parts. So do you want to dive into some highs and lows and then go from there?
Yes. I do like being able to celebrate both the good and the bad that's happened for the week.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see. My low for this is the chaos that has ensued over the last week of just everything being thrown at me between PMS symptoms at the same time as a dryer breaking, at the same time as this thing happening and these things needing to be done and board meeting and sticky note time and no childcare and just overwhelmingness. And it seems so trivial compared to others' situations. And I'm just like, I'm overwhelmed right now in my own space. This is ridiculous. How do I can't help myself. How do I help anyone else? So that was the low, but it's finally come to kind of like a conclusion. It feels like loose ends have been tied off or cut off. It's abandoned. So my high has been Declan in what he's shown in just a short amount of time for growing up. It feels like, my God, I think this kid's going through his growth spurt. I think we got past the whole cognitive development for his 5th birthday. I'm hoping that we don't have any more attitude leading up to the birthday. Right now, it just feels like he's eating and sleeping and playing exponentially because he feels like he's growing up. Like, I can't believe it's almost here. So it's been very fun to watch him. He has been really stepping up his game as a good boy and a big boy. So it's been fun. Linda, some highs and lows for you, ma'am.
Oh goodness. I think one of the highs at the moment is just the amount of bike riding we're getting in. We've got in over the holidays, especially for the little 2 ones. I have just watched Quinn go so fast on his bike at the moment. He skids and slides out and he's going down hills, like really big hills on this tiny little bike, which is really 2 sizes too small for him. And he just doesn't stop. He just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and just doesn't want to get off. And then Sigrid had quite a heavy, chunky, old wooden balance bike, which got replaced 2 days ago. And so now she's got a more lightweight little one and she's just taken off as well. So literally picked it up and was just like, wow. And so she did a 3 kilometre, which is I think almost 2 miles, 3 kilometre ride yesterday. And she just went. I didn't have to carry it. I didn't have to carry her. She just did not want to get off at all. So she was exhausted. And today was a bit of a mess because she was so tired from yesterday. But yeah, it's just crazy. And then the low for me is I stubbed my toe really hard about an hour ago.
Oh no.
2 hours ago now. And oh my gosh, just on the corner of the door, like right on the little toe. And I screamed and swore, and I had couple of other kids in the room, and I swore at like a complete trooper. And they were like, oh, was I? They were thinking that they were in the way, and they did it. And I'm like, no, it just really effing hurt. And I literally wanted to have a complete tantrum and fall apart over, and it's still really quite sore right now. I can feel it, like the heat coming off it. It's going to be a bruised one. And yeah, I didn't want an adult, basically, right then and then. I just wanted to scream at everyone and just really, yeah, it was pretty bad. So, which is a good segue into our topic today.
Yes.
The days when you just can't adult. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when the universe is throwing all of itself at you at one time.
Yep. And then you stub your toe, and that's the straw that breaks the camel's back. You're like, my gosh. Crazy. So what does it look like on the days where you don't want to adult, or the moments when you don't want to adult? What happens to you? Do you have a little tantrum as well?
I do one of those paralysis things where I just I get stuck into that procrastination thing where I just will give it all up and do something else. Last week I did it. I was, I'm super overwhelmed with a lot of things, and I had the time because I didn't go into the office for something. I'm like, I cannot do brain work. I think I need to take a break from doing like the active entrepreneurial work. And instead I was like, let's go do some housework, because when was the last time I did housework?
2 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a good change that I needed, because it was actually like manual labor out in the yard. So I was like, let's change this for my own body and mind, not really thinking about how it kind of disrupt what was going on for me. And it was not self-care. It no way in heck was raking through like 5 years of leaves in a wooded area in my yard self-care. I would not. For me, it's not self-care.
Not grounding, not at all.
No, shoes were on because I was not sticking my feet in that mess. But, I was out in the sunshine. It was a beautiful day outside. My sister kept me company. I did not have Declan around. So there were other things that made it not a heavy spot to feel like I was adulting, but to just be able to do a manual labor task and exercise my energy in a different way. I didn't have those adult responsibilities other than just clearing something out for about 2 hours. And I let myself step away from that. But I mean, Linda, you're going through so much change right now yourself. I don't even know how you're adulting other than just caring for you and your family to make sure that they get where they need to be every day. How are you making sure that you're taking care of you on these days? Because I'm sure you're not wanting to adult throughout these last couple of weeks and what's coming up.
No. There was a moment today where I just shut the door and had a good cry because it all was a lot and it was all a bit too much. And then the kids were like, "Oh, what's wrong? You're sad." And they all came up and gave me a huge big cuddle, which was both sweet but also like, this is not for you to take on at the same time. So it's a lot of push-pull. I am doing things like getting out with them and watching them enjoy life and grow and ride bikes and fall over and hit their head and giggle at bedtime when they're meant to be asleep. And just, I think more than anything, I've just been able to enjoy them a lot more than I have for a very long time. So that in itself is a way of self-caring.
Yeah.
There's also, there are a lot of times where I'm just like, I really don't want to do this right now. Yep, absolutely. And I do feel like I am stuck in mundane tasks of where's that sock and who's lost their book now and why can't I clean out the car? And somebody's tried to find something in the car and now the car's a mess. And yeah, it's just, I don't always do well with all the mundane tasks and not having any time to write or read or work or podcast or anything.
You're at a place of survival where you're unable to fit in those things that make you, and you're really going back to focusing on your priority of your family, because you're, taking care of what needs to be taken care of to get them okay. And I think I admire you for being able to I'm sure you're not okay with it and having to put a lot of the things on hold for you to just be able to be watching the kids and taking that in as your self-care and being aware of the space that you're able to enjoy with them.
Yeah.
I think I've been stepping back and trying to do that too with the overwhelmed feelings. Like, we have our on and off times of, I'm still going into work by going into a working time while Declan's at school. And as soon as he's home, I'm like, forget work. I cannot do work after school right now. Like, it needs to be Declan time, because I'm done adulting by the time he gets home with all the other stuff that's being thrown at me myself.
Yeah, I want to disagree slightly on that though, because parenting requires so much adulting. Like, you need to forward plan and think about packing a lunchbox for the next day, or organising the form that has to be filled in, or like there is so much adulting that has to happen with parenting.
Definitely. I do it all before
we just do. Yeah, we do an autopilot. I'm missing a lot of my routines at the moment. Of usually while I was cooking dinner, I'd pack the lunch boxes, or get everything sort of ready that I needed for the next day. And I'm not as easily able to do that right now with everything up in the air. And so I'm actually missing a little bit of that adult part in a way.
It brings some order to our lives when we when we don't have the unnecessary pressure of adulting.
What about the moments where you have maybe snapped and just been like, especially postpartum for you was huge in that aspect of, having some moments where you were like, oh my God, this rage is so childish, or like a tantrum, or can you talk to those moments a little bit?
They still happen. And I think it's a lot like what you already talked about, Linda, where you just had to leave the room and go have a good cry. I mean, that's what I've done since day one. But I don't think when my son was small enough, I would leave the room because at that point he didn't know what was happening. So there was a lot of crying right in front of him. But even now, just this past weekend, oh my gosh, my period symptoms were awful. I had the worst sciatic pain I've ever experienced in my life, which was debilitating and had me on the couch for 2 days. Like, I was out. But I did get so frustrated because of it, also leading into my period. So I was already on edge, that there were times that I just had to walk away without telling anybody and go lay down in my bed and just be alone. And that was really the self-care that I needed, was just to go be alone. I did. One of the days I let my husband know, I was like, I am not going to be the preferred parent today. I need you to be that parent so I can rest. And I got both of them to do it. Declan understood that I wasn't feeling good, and I just kept deferring to Bobby. It's like, nope, you got to go ask Daddy for that. And by the end of the day, he wasn't coming to me. He was going to Bobby. And I think that was probably the first time I've ever successfully been able to do that without leaving.
So hard. Mm-hmm.
And I might need to.
So hard.
Yeah, that might need to be a new practice of, nope, Daddy's the preferred, like, but Daddy's going to be the person you go to today. If I can get that to be like once a month thing, that might be a really great addition to self-care, especially if it's right around, if I could time it around my cycle, because that is when I'm seeing the rage bits come out, the more heightened anger, where I'm able to get to that tantrum much quicker. So
yeah.
In those moments, if I know that that's cyclical, why can't I just go ahead and schedule that in? Like, I have my calendar. I know I'm getting my period this week. Great. 2 days before, that's Daddy Day, not a Mommy Day.
That 2 days before period is shocking. I had it last week, and I was just, and I was speaking to my friend Jodie about this actually as well. And she gave me a really great response of, you know what, Mum's just learning to set better boundaries right now. And it's going to take some time to practice. And I'm learning just like you. Because I definitely had moments where I was like, oh my gosh, wow, that was not my finest hour at all.
Yeah. And Linda, you're right. We're learning just alongside with our kids, not how to, we're learning how to be grown-ups. I mean, everyone is. And I did use that phrase recently too. Like, I'm learning just like you are how to do this, Declan. Like, I'm practicing on controlling my emotions and how I process them. So I think that kind of, I think I saw a little bit of shock in Declan's face. Like, what do you mean you're learning too? I think it kind of like brought him down a notch in a way, like, of my pedestal of how he sees me. Like kind of made it like real. Like, he has to, teach me something, it feels like.
Reciprocated.
Yeah.
And we've also learned a lot, I guess, in all of these episodes so far, over 100 now. And we do have a bit of a self-care list, a checklist for days when it does feel too hard. So we would love you to start a conversation and reach out to us by email or in messages, which is all going to be in the show notes as well, so that we can sort of help along with that at the same time.
Yep. Because when we're adulting and it is hard, I'm not going to remember the things I love to do right away, to go and try and do a little bit of self-care, but having that list of just a few things that I can throw in my day, whether it be just, maybe I need to turn on the music for a little while with a little bit of playtime outside. But definitely reach out for a conversation, because we are happy to discuss and give you more ideas, because sometimes it's hard to come up with our own when we are just so wrapped up in being adults and having a hard time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Linda, thank you for this conversation, and listeners, thank you for being here. It's always better with you listening in. So, Linda, until next week,
we hope you can unstuck your buck.
Bye.
Bye.